Several months ago, I decided that I wanted to practice my ability to speak extemporaneously about projects. So, I asked Craig, my fellow blogger, to go ahead and send me a very short slide presentation. Now, each of these slides has 4 words or phrases on them that in some way pertain to projects. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start this show, and I'm just going to speak for a minute or two about each slide as it comes up. Now, I have no idea what is on any of these slides. I haven't looked ahead. I have been waiting to do this because I've needed some quiet time and a chance to just sit down and think through how I'm going to approach this. So these have been sitting in my inbox for a while, and now they're ready to roll. So, without further ado, here we go to slide 1. Rats and mice. Good one, Craig. I guess when I think about rats and mice and I think about projects, I would say that there are a couple of different people. We all know that different stakeholders have different approaches to problems, and some people will come to you and say, hey, I've got a solution, and never really get into what the problem is. Some people will come to you and they won't even know what the problem is. They're just like, things aren't working, I have no idea what it is. Rats and mice are clearly different parts of the animal kingdom, but they're related. When our stakeholders come to us, they oftentimes come with us not really understanding what's going on. So the things they bring to us are oftentimes very related to one another. You may have different stakeholders bringing you the same problem, but very different outlooks on what the problem really is. So in a way, I don't want to call stakeholders rats and mice because, I've got some really great stakeholders, but they bring different outlooks. Biting off more than you can chew. I think that last slide was a great proof that sometimes that happens in life. Because I really began to wonder as soon as I saw that, did I bite off more than I can chew in doing this? But I don't think I did. This is kind of a project stretch for me. As I said, I'd like to speak, and I would like to speak more extemporaneously about projects. So sometimes you do have to step up and bite off a little bit more than you can chew. Now, it's painful when you do that because what happens is you end up missing things. Things get by you. Projects don't work out the way they should. They may have massive issues. They require lots of rework. But those are growing experiences. Those are things that once you do them once, if you're good and you understand the problems, you tend not to do that again. Or if you do, you take the lessons that you learned from the last time, apply them to this time, and then you get a better outcome. It still may not be a great outcome, but it could be better. You just have to think about what happened, learn the lessons, and apply them to your next project. Business architecture. This is actually something I've been thinking a lot about recently. Our organization's going through a lot of change at the moment, and we're re-architecting from the ground up a lot of different things and doing it at once. And we've got some really aggressive goals this year. One of the things that really has been occurring to me is we, being a global company, are trying to solve the same problem in a lot of different places. And I think the part of it, because we're so very distributed in what we do, being that we franchise a lot of opportunities in different countries throughout the world, we have to have a very good, repeatable process. And we have to have some systems that can support those processes. And that's a lot of good business architecture. To know what it is that you're trying to do, to know how you can support it well, and then to truly execute and get it done. That's not an easy thing to do, especially when you start taking into things like multiple currencies, different products all over the world, some of which are similar to the ones in our home country, some of which are very different. Some of which have the same name and are very different, some of which have different names and are very much the same. How do you take all of that information and combine it into such a way that you can measure your business effectively and you can help your business improve in what they do by giving them the right type of measurements? It's a tough nut to crack, but man, is it one that's been on my mind a lot. And last one is value chain. Our suppliers bring us excellent quality of product, And we don't generally get into the manufacturing of our inputs, but where we really provide the value chain to our organization is in not just the final step for the customer, because that's where our bread and butter is, but getting the product inputs to those stores, making sure that the stores have the correct inputs that they need so they can produce a quality product on the customer's schedule. When you have the right parts of the value chain, you do a couple of things. You don't have to worry about paying your suppliers who may be also supplying your competitors. You don't have to worry about paying their profit. But you do have to worry about making sure that you have enough scale to be effective at what you do. This is where it becomes hard, because there is a line where you can say, I may be able to do things better than someone else who does this particular part of the chain for a living, but because they have such a larger scale than I have, even if my quality is better, it may be right for me to go to them anyway and ask them to do that work for me. The value chain is always a very difficult thing to understand, because you don't necessarily know when you start out where you're going to fit in it and what parts you can economically work well. So it takes a lot of math. It takes a lot of time to sit down and understand the costs, understand the value that you can add, and then to see what your competitors are doing. And when you say, this is how much profit I'm going to pay them, does it make sense for me to step into here? So those are our 4 slides. I hope you guys had a good time. I know I enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll do another one of these soon. Thanks.